With so many new riders taking up mountain biking, it's important to know what you'll encounter when riding a new trail. A trail's difficulty rating is characterized by a color system with green indicating an easier trail, blue for an intermediate skill level, black for advanced, double black for most difficult, and it even goes to pro line after that. In this guide, I'll focus on the green, blue, and black options and break down what you'll encounter on these trails. I'll also be looking at the grading system that is typically used in North America. In Europe, you'll see a red category that is somewhere in between a blue and a black trail, but it's quite subjective. And that is the trickiest thing when it comes to grading a trail. Each region has their own definition. So I'm going to use the local to me standards in Squamish, BC as a guide for what I say, and I'm pretty confident that it's a solid base to use. If you're an experienced rider and you're taking a friend out riding for the first time, or maybe even the third time, this could be the perfect video for them to watch to make them feel more comfortable before you take them out on their next ride. We all want more people to fall in love with this sport, just like we have, so share this video with them and you might have a new die-hard riding buddy. The spectrum of trail difficulty is pretty basic in mountain biking, and that might actually be a problem. When you look at the sport of climbing, you'll find 34 different levels of difficulty, and in mountain biking, there's only 5. You might hear someone talk about an easy black or a hard blue, so perhaps in future years, this might change. I certainly hope so. Then you'll find that there are 2 types of trails out there, flow or tech. But this isn't something I'm going to touch on in this guide, but it's worth knowing because that is another way of defining a trail. The fear that you get in mountain biking comes from not knowing what's going to happen. If you're unsure of a jump or a steep section, it's because you don't properly know how you're going to handle the situation and what the bike is going to do. So before you move on to a harder trail difficulty, it's important to get comfortable on the current level you're at. So now you've picked yourself up that perfect mountain bike, let's head off to the first trail and break down what you're going to find on a green trail. Green trails are built for beginner mountain bikers and require the least amount of skill to ride them. Sleepy Hollow here is somewhat of a technical green trail, and it's a non-machine graded route. And the first distinguishing feature of a green trail that I'm going to talk about is a mellow grade. With it being mellow, this means that less experienced riders are going to have a better time. They're going to be able to control their speed far more easily. And that means that you're going to find the green trails are a lot more pedally, i.e. you're going to have to be pedaling more. But good green trails will be up and down, just like this one here in Roberts Creek. And at the end of the day, that's what mountain biking is. It's about going up and down, and green trails should be an introduction to what mountain biking is actually like. It can be very easy to overwhelm someone on their first mountain bike ride, especially if you're the one guiding them around. Starting off with a green trail is going to make both of your lives a lot simpler. Something that you think is easy is probably not going to be easy for them. Trail obstacles will be very low, only around 10 centimeters high off the ground, and they're easily avoidable. The ground won't have a loose surface, and there are no jumps or drops to contend with. If there are bridges to ride over, they will be extremely wide, and descents will not exceed a 15% grade of steepness. Most of the time, the trails are going to be smooth, machine smooth, and very wide. However, this trail here, you can see there are some routes, but they're not crazy and they're not going to catch you out. And that's why the Trail Association has given this trail the green rating. Straight line trails are boring, corners make it fun. Now, corners on green trails, you might not even find berms here. If you don't know what a berm is, it's kind of a banked corner. As you see behind me, this corner is very flat, and that's how it's been for most of the trail. If you're taking a friend or whoever out for their first bike ride, all a new mountain biker wants to do is turn the handlebars and go around the corner and have a good time. There are a lot of skills that you can develop in mountain biking, and you certainly won't learn them all on your first ride. So when you're starting off your mountain biking life on a green trail, focus on the basics of braking, pedaling, and cornering. Learn to get more familiar with the bike that you have and be safe in the knowledge that the trail you're on won't catch you out. And the final feature of a green trail is that you don't really need that much to go and do one. And let's start off with talking about physical demands. A lot of people forget about just the physical nature of mountain biking and how that can be intimidating. All the pedaling, all the climbing, or the descending and the extra strain that you're going to put on your arms. It can put a lot of people off. You'll be amazed at what you can do. Young or old, fit or unfit, starting on a green trail is the best way to start your journey into mountain biking. Equipment wise, sure, my Giant here is a pretty top end piece of kit, but green trails, you could ride on anything. Really, the amount of equipment that you need is open to pretty much everyone here. You just need a helmet and a bike. A hardtail will be perfectly fine on green trails. And if you've never mountain biked before, I recommend starting there. However, you might grow out of it faster than you think. And that's because the rate of progression at this stage in your mountain biking life is very fast. Because when you've mastered the greens, it's time to step up to riding blue trails. Blue trails are designed for intermediate skills. It is often quite hard to determine where a beginner ends and an intermediate starts, but I think that the definitions that I talk about in this section of the video should help you answer that question and see if you're ready for them or not. No longer are the climbs mellow, and you'll find up to a 25% grade going up. So having that stronger base of fitness is going to make pedaling up to the top a lot more manageable. It might be tough at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. You'll have to trust me on that one. And the descents have got steeper too, going from that maximum grade of 15% on the greens up to a 35% grade here on the blues. And after you've done that climbing, you'll come to a more technical trail. The main factor is that you're probably going to find that it's narrower than a green trail and filled with more things like roots and rocks, just like this. Now you might be watching this thinking, I don't like roots, Paul, and big rocks, I'm not that into them. But it's what your mountain bike is designed for. Be it full suspension or a hardtail mountain bike, it's going to roll over them probably without you even noticing. And along with the technical features of the roots and the rocks, the corners are going to be more built up. Now on the green trails, they're pretty much exclusively flat corners or maybe a little bit of a bank, but on blue trails, you're going to start seeing berms like these. And berms are designed so that you can go around them faster, and you're going to really start to develop your cornering technique. But the biggest difference between a green and a blue trail is that you'll start seeing features like drops and jumps. And it's these features that you're really going to start to progress as a rider and truly fall in love with mountain biking. There is a limit to how big the drops will be though. Squamish's guidelines say up to 30 centimeters or 1 foot, and they must have clear runouts after them. You'll also find jumps, but they won't have any consequences if you aren't going fast enough when you come off the lip and come up short. Oof. They will either be rollable or be tabletop jumps, with no gaps in between the takeoff and the landing. This allows for a safe environment to learn and develop those skills so that when you're ready to take it up to the next level, you will be. The surface might be a bit looser than the green trails, with embedded trail obstacles also being a bit taller, up to 20 centimeters high. But getting up and over obstacles like this is a part of mountain biking, and it needs to be learned. The rate of progression from a green trail to a blue trail and starting to do drops just like this one is very, very fast. And I've seen a ton of people go out, buy the cheapest mountain bike that they can and the cheapest everything, and within only a couple of months, they're already upgrading. If you're new to mountain biking, maybe you've been renting, borrowing a bike from a friend, really think, hey, I like mountain biking, I'm really gonna get into this, and just spend your money wisely. And when you've got that solid base of fitness and you've developed your technique further from riding all these amazing blue trails, you'll be ready to progress onto the Black Diamond trails. Hey Joel, have I told you about the Team Slow and Awkward jerseys yet? Because they're available right now, link in the description. All profits from the merch go into the production of these videos. We've got some Team Slow and Awkward stuff and the brand new Sponsors Dream merch on there as well. Click the link below right now and pick something up. Nailed it. Built for advanced riders, Black Diamond trails are designed around difficult and technically demanding challenges. You're also going to need a higher level of fitness. And I'm not just talking about aerobic capacity here. Strength is a key component of mountain biking, as black trails need more bike handling and the ability to adapt to a change of direction quickly. And now we're on a black rated trail, you can see straight away that things are a lot steeper and a lot rougher, especially when it comes to a technical black trail like we've got here. The most important thing that you're going to want to do is pad up. So I've got knee pads on, I could arguably get away with not wearing them on a blue trail. I mean, I prefer to wear them anyway, but when it comes to a trail like this, you need better protection overall. And the reason that you need more protection is that there's more risk and therefore more consequences. You can see here, there's rocks, big rocks, roots everywhere, and you're going to need even more skill to negotiate this terrain. And if the trails are getting steeper, probably by a factor of 2 if you want to put a number on it, then have a guess what's going to happen with the drops and the jumps. Yeah, they've gone from medium to large. Using Squamish's guidelines as a reference here, drops can now be 30 centimeters or larger and might require mandatory airtime. And it's easy to say that these features are just bigger, well, because they are, but they're bigger because they're aimed at advanced riders that are going to be riding faster. So really, it's all about the speed that you can ride a trail, and that's the difference, in my opinion, between an intermediate rider and an advanced rider. And it's not just that the features are bigger, they're going to need more commitment. So on the drops, there might be a gap to the landing, or for example, on a jump like this one, there is a mandatory gap that you have to clear. And that's not to say you can't ride black trails slowly. I mean, of course you can ride them quote unquote slowly, but it's on the black trails where your skill really needs to be more advanced. You need to be managing the bike a lot more than on a blue trail, which in some respects, the bike is going to do a lot of the work for you. And here we come back to my point about buying smart at the beginning of your mountain bike journey. Because buying a bike that isn't designed for this terrain will only hold you back. Yes, of course, you can do everything on a hardtail, and if you want to ride a hardtail, then that's great, and I'm sure you're going to have a smile on your face either way. But a full suspension bike on these trails is going to make it more enjoyable, and you're going to get the most out of your time riding, mainly because the suspension on your bike is going to absorb more of the forces from these larger features and rougher trails. But there will be ride-arounds on features like these, and that's where a single black and a double black diamond trail will differ. Yes, there will be some mandatory sections that you have to ride, but that's what's so good about the challenge of mountain biking. Accomplishing something you've never done or never thought you could do is why people keep coming back to riding bikes. When you're comfortable riding black trails, you'll be able to ride steep sections confidently, you'll be solid in the air, you'll be riding off the bigger drops, your turning technique will get you around even the tightest of turns, and you'll enjoy getting up to speed because you know how your bike is going to come to a stop. Let's recap what we've got here. For green trails, what you're going to find is a much flatter, wider trail. They're aimed at less experienced riders, and the equipment that you're using to ride them probably doesn't need to be that advanced. For blue trails, you're going to find that the climbs and the descents are steeper. You're also going to have to be more comfortable with your skills on a bike, but the progression from a green to a blue is quite quick, and you'll get there faster than you expect. And finally, for black trails, they're designed to be ridden faster for riders with more advanced skills. You're also going to need more protection because the risks and consequences are greater. And finally, the features that you'll find on these trails, the jumps and the drops, are going to be bigger, and some of them are going to need commitment with mandatory gaps in between. If you've enjoyed this video and you've shared it with a friend, then hit the like button so that I know. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, watch it twice. Cheers, punters. I'll see you next time.